All right, so today we are going to do a deep dive into AI. And not just like the buzzwords, but really unpacking like what artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, that's AGI, and even superintelligence, like what it all actually means. And get this, our guide for all this is going to be senior technical writer Curt Robbins.
Oh, cool.
The guy has a seriously impressive background.
Yeah.
I mean, he's worked with companies like FedEx, Microsoft, and even Wells Fargo.
Wow.
So we're definitely in good hands here. So are you ready to cut through all the hype and the fear around AI and like figure out what's real, what's possible, and like what actually matters for you?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
You know, it's interesting how AI often feels like this really futuristic thing.
Yeah.
But Curt Robbins, he really brings it down to earth. You know, he points out how much we're already using AI in our everyday lives.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like voice assistants on our phone, there
Yeah.
are all those personalized recommendations that pop up online.
Right.
AI is kind of already woven into our lives, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. But Robbins makes this really important distinction. You know, most of what we interact with is what's called narrow or weak AI.
Okay, weak AI. I like that.
Yeah.
What makes it weak?
So think of it this way. It's weak because it's like really good at very specific tasks.
Oh, okay.
Like your voice assistant, it can totally understand your commands.
Right.
But it doesn't actually like understand what you're saying. Not in the same way another human would, you know?
Right.
It's not thinking about the context or reasoning things out on its own.
So it's more like superpowered pattern recognition.
Yeah, it's all about what we call machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
These algorithms, they like gobble up massive amounts of data.
Oh, wow.
They find all these patterns in the data and then make predictions based on those patterns.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is where it starts to get really relevant to everyone listening, right?
You're right.
I mean, like, imagine using AI to analyze, like, those complex system logs.
Yeah.
The kinds of things you deal with all the time. Predict potential outages before they even happen. You're working smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. But that brings us to the next level, which is artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
All right, lay it on me.
Okay, so think of AGI as like the ultimate goal of all this AI research. It's basically machines that can learn and then apply that knowledge across all kinds of different areas, just like us humans do.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just about mastering one specific task.
Huh?
It can learn and adapt to pretty much anything.
Wow. So instead of just following pre-programmed instructions,
Right.
an AGI could actually understand a situation, make decisions, solve problems it's never even seen before.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And Robbins, he points out some key features that would make AGI totally different from what we have now.
Okay, like what?
Autonomous decision-making. So not just pre-programmed outcomes.
Right.
That deeper contextual understanding we were just talking
Got
about.
it.
And this crazy ability to learn and adapt way beyond the data it's been fed.
Okay, this is starting to sound a little bit like something out of a sci-fi movie, to be honest.
I know, right?
But let's work it back down to reality for a sec.
Yeah.
If I'm, let's say, an IT professional,
Right.
how could this AGI actually change things for me?
Imagine an AI that can move seamlessly from, let's say, managing your network security to optimizing your company's entire supply chain without needing any reprogramming whatsoever.
So it's like having an entire team of like super experts all rolled into one super intelligent system.
Exactly.
That's powerful. But is this AGI thing even really possible?
Yeah.
Or is it still just a dream?
That is the million-dollar question. AGI is still theoretical. It's something researchers are definitely working towards, but we haven't quite cracked the code of actually replicating human intelligence in a machine. But who knows what the future holds, right? Now, Robbins takes us even further down this rabbit hole, into the realm of superintelligence, which is where things get really mind-bending.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me, what exactly is superintelligence?
It's the idea of machines that can not just match human intelligence, but exceed it.
Oh, wow.
In every single way imaginable. Processing information way faster, solving problems more efficiently, maybe even being more creative.
So like way smarter than Data from Star Trek.
Exactly. And there's this theory from a philosopher named Nick Bostrom. It's called the superintelligence explosion.
Superintelligence explosion.
Yeah, it's basically the idea that once a machine reaches a certain level of intelligence, it could rapidly self-improve. Like becoming so intelligent that we humans can't even comprehend it.
All right, now that is some serious sci-fi stuff. But let's get real. What would this actually mean for us? Like if superintelligence actually became a reality.
Well, that's where the controversy starts. It's like this double-edged sword. On the one hand, imagine the breakthroughs we could have, like cures for diseases, solving climate change, technology we can't even dream of right now.
Okay, yeah, that does sound amazing, but I have a feeling there's a but coming.
Of course, there is. What about the potential for like massive job displacement,
Right.
the ethical dilemmas,
Yeah.
and like what happens if we lose control of something that's so much smarter than us? These are the big questions Robbins is raising, and they're not easy to answer.
So superintelligence has this incredible potential to solve, like, all of our problems, but it could also become the biggest problem itself.
Exactly.
I think we need to unpack this a little bit more.
Absolutely. That's what we're going to dive into next, the real heart of the debate surrounding superintelligence.
Okay.
What are the real risks? What are the potential benefits? And how do we even begin to prepare for a future where machines might actually be calling the shots?
All right, listeners, buckle up. This deep dive is about to get even deeper.
Let's talk about that double-edged sword, that potential impact of superintelligence.
Okay.
Robbins doesn't sugarcoat it at all. One of the biggest concerns, I mean, right out of the gate, is disruption, like economic and social disruption. Think about it. Machines that can do pretty much any job better than humans. What happens to the workforce?
Yeah.
To our entire society?
Yeah. That's a pretty unsettling thought. And it's not just, like, manual labor jobs that are at risk, right? I mean, even in IT, things could change drastically.
Absolutely. Robbins actually suggests that for like IT professionals specifically,
Yeah.
the future might not be about using all these cool AI tools. It might be more about managing them,
Oh, okay.
making sure these like super intelligent systems are actually working the way they're supposed to.
Right, right.
Making sure they're secure and they're aligned with our goals.
Yeah. It's almost like we're not just creating tools anymore. We're potentially creating something that could become like our boss,
Right.
in a way. That brings up some seriously big ethical questions.
You're right. You hit the nail right on the head. Robbins calls it out, highlights what's called the alignment problem.
Alignment problem.
So how do we make sure that a superintelligence's goals actually like align with human values?
Yeah.
Because right now, AI, it doesn't have ethics. It doesn't have empathy or a sense of morality like we do.
Right.
So how do we program those qualities, those human qualities, into something that might actually be way smarter than all of us?
It's like it's almost like we're trying to, like, raise a child. But this child could potentially outsmart us before it even learns to walk.
Right.
It's a little daunting, to say the least.
That's a perfect way to put it. And then there's, of course, the question of control. What if a superintelligence actually decides to pursue goals that are harmful to humanity?
Oh, wow.
Or like, what if it simply becomes so complex that we don't understand its actions, let alone control them?
Okay, now this is really starting to feel like a sci-fi, like, horror movie.
It is, isn't it?
Is there any hope here? I mean, are there actually people out there working on, like, solutions to these problems?
There are, thankfully. Robbins mentions organizations like OpenAI. They're doing some really amazing work on AI alignment research, really trying to figure out how to actually develop superintelligence safely and ethically so it benefits humanity instead of becoming a threat.
So it's not all, like, doom and gloom.
It's not all doom and gloom.
There's at least a glimmer of hope that we can navigate this uncharted territory responsibly.
Exactly. But it's going to require a lot of very careful thought and, a lot of collaboration, a real willingness to address these ethical questions head on. We can't just ignore all the potential downsides and just hope for the best.
Robbins kind of breaks down this whole controversy surrounding superintelligence into 3 key areas, right?
He does. He calls them the alignment problem, the existential risk, and the loss of control.
Alignment problem, existential risk, loss of control.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig into each of these a little bit further.
Okay.
Starting with that alignment problem. I feel like we almost need, like, a philosophy degree just to wrap our heads around this one.
It really is deeply philosophical. You're absolutely right. How do we make sure that a superintelligent system's goals actually align with, what we as humans consider to be good,
Oh, yeah.
ethical? It's not like we have, like, this universal rule book for morality,
Yeah,
right?
so we can't just assume that a superintelligence will automatically understand, like, what's best for humanity. We actually have to teach it somehow.
Exactly. And that is so incredibly difficult. It's almost like trying to define goodness in a way that a superintelligent computer can understand and then act upon.
Okay. All right, let's move on to existential risk.
Okay.
I'm getting some serious Terminator vibes here.
Yeah.
Are we talking about robots taking over the world?
Not necessarily robots, like
Yeah.
in that traditional sense, but the core idea is similar. Existential risk in this context, it means that superintelligence could actually threaten the very existence of humanity.
Okay, that sends chills down my spine a little bit. So we're not just talking about losing our jobs to these machines.
Right.
We're talking about potentially losing control of our own, like, destiny?
Mm,
That's a heavy thought.
it is, and it's a very valid fear, I think. And this leads directly into the third point Robbins makes, the loss of control.
Okay.
As these systems become more intelligent, more capable of learning and adapting on their own, there's a very real risk that we could lose the ability to, like, even understand them.
It's like we're creating like a genie in a bottle.
Right.
But then we realize we don't actually know how to put the genie back in the bottle once it's out.
That's a great analogy.
And this genie's super intelligent and potentially like calling all the shots.
And the more powerful that genie is,
Right.
the higher the stakes.
So what are we supposed to do? Like just sit back and wait for like the inevitable robot uprising? I'm starting to feel a little powerless here.
I know. Robbins does point out that, this is why organizations like OpenAI are so important.
Yeah.
They're not just building, bigger and better AI. They're trying to develop these safeguards, the strategies to actually mitigate these risks.
So it's not just about advancement. It's about responsible advancement.
Exactly.
We need to think about the consequences before we just like unleash superintelligence out into the world.
Absolutely. And it's not just the responsibility of, scientists and engineers.
Right.
This is a conversation that really needs to involve everyone. Policymakers, ethicists, philosophers, everyday citizens like you and me. We all have a stake in this future.
This has been incredibly eye-opening, but also a lot to process. I think we need a moment to just like recap what we've learned so far.
Yeah, let's take a breath. Let's bring it all together.
Yeah.
We started with AI as we know it today, tools that are already changing the way we live and work.
Right.
We explored the mind-blowing possibilities of AGI, machines that could pretty much rival human intelligence in their ability to learn and adapt.
Right.
And then we kind of ventured into that uncharted territory of superintelligence where, like we said, the potential benefits are enormous,
Yeah.
but the risks are just as significant.
Yeah. It's a lot to wrap our heads around. So where do we go from here?
That is the big question, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're going to explore next.
Okay.
How do we prepare for a future where machines might actually be more intelligent than their creators? What can we do to make sure that this incredible power, this incredible potential is used for good, not for harm? And most importantly, what role do you, the listener, want to play in shaping this future?
Okay. I feel like my brain needs a little bit of a reboot after all that.
I know, right?
We went from like everyday AI to the just mind-blowing possibilities of AGI.
Right.
And then the honestly kind of scary potential of this superintelligence thing.
Yeah, Robbins' article really puts it all out there.
It does.
It's like so exciting, but also like a little unnerving all at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we know AI is already changing the game.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more sophisticated every day.
Right.
It's impacting our lives in ways we probably don't even realize.
Absolutely.
And AGI, that human-level intelligence in a machine,
right.
while that's still in the what-if stage,
Yeah.
researchers are like pushing the boundaries all the time.
They are.
It feels like the stuff of science fiction,
It really does.
but it's getting closer.
Getting closer every day.
And then there's, the big looming question mark, superintelligence.
Right.
We talked about the huge potential benefits,
We did.
but the risks, those are just enormous. We can't just ignore those ethical questions, the possibility of things going really wrong.
You're absolutely right. It's a total tightrope walk. And that's why these conversations like the one we're having right now, these are so crucial. We need to be aware of like what the potential pitfalls are, have these open discussions about it, and really support that research that's focusing on developing AI responsibly.
Yeah. There's this one point that Robbins made that really stuck with me. He says, as we enter this uncharted territory of like increasingly intelligent machines, what questions should we be asking? What safeguards do we actually need to put in place? It's like we're creating something so powerful, we better be darn sure we're doing it right.
Absolutely. And he doesn't pretend to have all the answers. And I think that's intentional. This isn't just about the technology itself. It's about what kind of future we want to build with it.
So what does this all mean for our listeners out there? I mean, what's the takeaway here for someone in IT, really anyone who's just paying attention to where the world is heading?
I think whether you're, writing code or managing networks or just someone who's curious about what's next, understanding these different levels of AI, this is like essential. It's about being informed, engaging in these important conversations, and helping to shape a future where technology actually serves us, not the other way around.
That's what the deep dive is all about, equipping you with the knowledge and the insights you need to kind of navigate this crazy world of tech.
Hmm.
So as you go about your day-to-day, think about those questions we explored today. Think about how AI is already a part of your life, how AGI might change things, and what that leap to superintelligence could actually mean.
Here's a thought I'll leave you with. If you could ask a super intelligent AI one question, just one question, what would be? What would you want to know about its capabilities, its motivations, its vision for the future?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep the conversation going. Until next time, happy diving.